This is the Dogon Podcast, and welcome to the Dogon Universe. We're going to talk about everything new that we got coming up, different products, and we might talk a little bit about what's going on in the world around us, because it's kind of getting interesting.
It is getting strange, interesting, cool, uncool, a lot of different things.
A lot of different aspects right now when it comes to politics, when it comes to our world in general, and, you know, I mean, just right off the bat, like, I don't know. I don't want to get too political, but I just don't see how anyone can vote for Kamala Harris. Like, just like her, the amount she goes back and forth, she's more of a flip-flopper than Kerry and Bush.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like an aura of like artificial fakeness.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah, the laugh itself is...
I haven't heard it, but...
You haven't heard her laugh? Man. It is like, it's the most awkward fake laugh in the world. Like, like I can't even duplicate it. But like, and I got nothing against women in politics. A lot of times I think women do a better job.
Yeah, that's not the reason.
You know, I got nothing against people of color in politics. That doesn't make a difference to me.
It's not a point at all, but
it's not a factor, you know, but I do have a problem with unintelligent or individuals who lack leadership being in politics. Like
I mean, there's no reason. I mean, if you can't pull together anything leadership wise, I guess was what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
There's no reason to be in politics.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 100% what you are, as a fucking leader, and you should be able to be one.
Especially the highest office in the land, you know, the president, like
trying to be a president. If you can't fucking, if you're not able to run like a restaurant or some shit, you definitely should not be in a politic setting.
Like if you can't run any type of business or a committee or like
anything. I didn't mean restaurant specifically, but just like a business.
But yeah, most people who work in restaurants who have worked in restaurants are like, yeah, you're right. They should have to run a restaurant, because
I just feel like that's more relatable to a lot of people.
And it's just so high paced and insane.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with like so many different types of people.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of different people. A lot of people don't like you. A lot of people, matter of fact, some people might hate you, but you still got to deal with them.
Yeah, you got to treat them perfect.
Right.
You know, like their food's got to be everything. You know, so, but yeah, there's just a lot about her that I'm just like, what? Like her, you know, politics in the past, going after, you know, certain demographics and you know, race-wise with how she did things. Like, it's just, I don't know, I just don't understand how there is an appeal towards her to be in any position like she is right now.
Right.
Like, and who is our president right now?
Like, I mean, I don't think there is one, to be honest.
Isn't that kind of fucked up and weird? Like,
strange.
Joe Biden like disappeared, came back 7 inches taller, and then like
I haven't seen much about him at all, really.
No, nothing. Like, who?
I mean, I'm not like super into it, like watching and seeing what's happening, but like usually I'll see something like a video of him, or like,
because it's the president.
Yeah,
because you know they
usually speak and talk about things, but.
It's just weird. It's just
strange.
And then we got Trump putting together like this Avengers team of politicians and influencers. Like, he's got Elon Musk, then he's got Tulsi Gabbard, then he's got like RFK just endorsed. You know, like,
I used to be pretty on defense about, you know, the Trump, whatever, you know, being like in support of Trump or whatever. Not really because of anything necessarily, just because I wasn't really informed. But
Go ahead, sir.
I just like how real he is. I like how I can see a real human being behind him, and I feel like that should be more regular in politics.
Yeah, it should be more respected. Like, he doesn't have polished, created answers.
Not at all.
He gets a question and he's like, well, I think that might be. And then sometimes you can tell he's like, well, I don't know, maybe, like, you know, he's like, because he's just talking
like a real human being would, and it's not like manufactured, and you know, I can't speak about that because it's not in the script.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, they told me not to go down that road. Like, nobody's like, Trump, don't talk about this, and he's like, okay, like that's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, like,
he's gonna say what he wants to say.
Probably if somebody was like, you can't talk about this, he's gonna come out there and be like, they told me I couldn't say this.
They told me to not say this shit, but
boom, 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 and then say it.
This motherfucker right here.
You know, and then to see like him on Theo Von, see him talk to Theo Von about
literally at like everybody. It feels like, and it's cool. I like it. I mean, no other president is going to do that. I feel like.
And they were just such genuine, real conversations. Like, even like watching Theo Von's recap of the Trump interview.
Yeah,
you know, he was like that was cool. Like he liked it, you know, and he like, I think he called President Trump homie. You know, he talked about doing coke with, like, I mean, it was just so, and Trump was like, oh, wow,
He's like, oh,
really?
shit, because he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he doesn't drink or doesn't do, you know, but like, I just thought it was, and you could tell Trump was like genuinely curious about like Theo Von's like struggle with drugs or alcohol. And it's because he had a brother who was, you know, actually suffering from, you know, I believe it sounded like alcoholism or something of that nature. But so it was just interesting to see like that genuine connection between Donald Trump and Theo Von. Like, it was just so wild.
I bet he was pretty surprised that Donald Trump even came on the show, just because it's like such a high figure, you know?
Yeah, I think it's just like I've seen in other stories. I think that comes from Barron Trump, his son.
Oh, really?
Because his son has talked about like, you know, oh, Theo's big and oh, this guy, you know, Aiden Ross is big. So like, you know, I think his son, I think he's been taking feedback from his family a lot more than people realize. And he actually applies that feedback and goes out there and connects with those people.
And I feel like having such a near-death experience, he wants to like get everything out there, you know, because people are after him. People want to kill him.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, I think there's going to be, you know, I hate to say it, but I think there's going to be another attempt that might be worse coming up real soon, just because, you know, Trump's been carrying around this red file folder for a while now, and I think he's got some pretty heavy dirt on some people.
Probably.
And that was his way of being like, listen, I got this stuff right here with me all the time, and I'm ready to put it out.
Yeah.
Fuck with me, you know, like that's really what I feel from the guy.
Little safety net or whatever.
Yeah, and I, you know, and again, like I don't even know what to think about American politics or our government anymore, because it's like, what is going on there?
Yeah,
you know,
we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer to kind of figure out what's happening, but
this temperature's heating up.
It is.
It's going to be wild over the next few months. So we're probably going to do a lot more episodes where we talk about this kind of stuff, just because we kind of want to digest what's going on, like in the, you know, in our world. And, you know, they tried to rebring the, or indict Trump again for a case that was dismissed. And like the Supreme Court said, like, no, we're not doing this. Like,
really?
Yeah, it just happened. And it's like, They literally tried to go after him again legally because, you know, they missed, you know, as Tom McDonald says. But yeah, you know, that's another guy. Now, if I saw Trump do a rap with Tom McDonald,
it'd be funny.
Have you seen his last one?
No.
It's like just him like dressed up like a middle finger, standing in front of a giant middle finger, flipping you off the whole time, being like, fuck you. Like,
yeah.
And he's talking about like, just in general, the craziness of our society.
Yeah, I've seen a few different songs by him. I don't really follow too hard, but I mean, they were good songs. I mean, good lyrics and such.
I just like how independent he is. He's not attached to any label. His you know, like production crew is his mom, his dad, his girlfriend. Like, I mean, it's his family, and he's killing it. I mean, he's making a ton of money.
I don't think any rapper should be on any label, because you know, you can make way more money by yourself no matter what.
Yeah, especially nowadays.
If you can make good, you know, good product and you know, give it to people, right? Product, you know, songs and shit. But
still,
But if you can do that, I mean, you don't need anybody else to put it out there for you. You can do that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort to pierce through that.
It's so much more worth it than just signing your fucking career away to some other person to make so much more money off of it than you.
And but that goes to show you, like, there's a lot of artists out there who are really just actors.
Yeah.
They sing other people's songs that are written for them.
Yeah, because
they have this look that they always have with you know, certain aspects of their personality, and that's like, that's their career, is being like this actor. You know what I mean? And then like with Tom McDonald, with Tech Nine, you know, you see those kind of people.
I like
they're
Tech
like,
Nine a lot.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he's independent too.
Really?
You know, and you know, and they force their music into the market, and because it's good, people fucking grab onto it.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I mean, if you put something good out there, people are gonna like it. I mean, it's just down to it.
Amen. And so it's, you know, but I think it takes a rare breed, somebody like Tom McDonald, somebody like Tech Nine, to be able to do that and to fight through that
confidence in yourself. Really, I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
I mean, I wonder how long it was before Tom McDonald had his first like big hit.
Yeah.
You know, it was probably not, you know, 3 months after he started recording.
Right.
You know,
some people do make it that quick, and amen. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, but they're in, then they're out. Like that Russ guy.
Yeah, everybody hated him.
You know, but then he started to do really well.
Cat.
She's just jumping all over me. But you know, but now he's starting to come back, I guess. But it's like some people just can't keep that grind going. You just have to keep pushing. If you keep your dream in front of you enough, then you're going to push through whatever.
Right. I mean, it's just bound to happen.
So what are we going to do for our next product?
I mean,
I just don't know, man.
I mean, there's a lot of different options. I feel like the tea is probably going to be the easiest, and
that's when we've gotten the most positive feedback of people.
Yeah,
you know.
I feel like people are just gonna enjoy it a lot. I mean, I want it personally. So
do we go right now? Loose leaf tea is having like a really big rise where it's not in a bag and it's just like the tea mixture, like mixed in a tin. And people are scooping it into either their cup and then just like drinking it, or
with it in the tea.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would like that.
I know, neither do I. And then there's other people who have like special teapots that you put it in the teapot, and then when you pour it, there's like a little screen that stops it from coming out. And maybe that'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Because then we could have our own teapots and our own, you know.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate on tea. I've drank tea my whole life. You know,
here.
I love tea, so it's got to be good quality. You know, so
I'm looking at only organic for tea.
Yeah,
you know, like even some wild grown I've looked at just because I like these blue flowers, you know, that make a phenomenal tea.
Right,
they're not organic, but they're wild grown, so it's like, all right, maybe I do that instead. I don't know.
But yeah, it just depends. I mean, we'll try couple different things, kind of feel it out, see which ones are, you know, good for people to consume. But
yeah, I mean, I've had like probably 20 or 30 people be like, yeah, do you guys have tea? Do you have coffee? You know, those seem to come up constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's another jump to energy because, you know, tea, caffeine, and coffee, caffeine, you know, energy. But just kind of jumping off of the Go Pack into a new product, I feel like that would be a good start. Yeah,
we're still going to come out with the Well Pack, hopefully sooner than later. But we are looking at, again, we don't want to be identified as like a supplement or wellness, you know, or just a, you know, vitamin company. You know, we want to have total wellness of I mean, eventually I want to have our own pre-made meals and our own, like, I mean, I want to be able to bring stuff to people that they can't get anywhere else that's higher quality than what they can get, and that is like a natural solution that gives powerful results, period. You know, and whatever we can do with that, you know, I'm down for.
Prepared meals, or, you know, you've heard of a lot of those different ones like HelloFresh and shit like that, but maybe we can do it better. I don't know.
Yeah, and I've looked at some of them. You know, you're just, when you're getting into, you know, frozen and food, you know, labels, processing, manufacturing, all that gets like crazy.
It's very different because that kind of stuff can go bad, and you know, you have to be very watchful of, you know, I guess preparation and all that different kind of shit.
Yeah, I mean, every aspect of it is like, whoa, this is a lot. So you know, a lot of the initial choices that we're going to make product wise are going to be surrounded around like what is going to be the lowest barrier to entry in order for us to focus on the highest quality of that product, rather than getting like a ton of something that isn't that good. We'd rather get a little bit of something that's really good. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys can hear Jack in the background barking, but
he's barking away.
Hattie probably has the bone in the bed, and dude, you know, she is such a bitch. Okay, I got this little tiny 3-pound dog, and she, you know, hold on one sec. Jack, knock it off. But yeah, so like, I have this tiny little 3-pound dog. Jack's like 12 pounds, maybe more, you know, and I don't know. But she will kick him out of their dog bed and not let him lay in it. And I will wake up and he's asleep on the ground because and then he tries to go in and she bites him in the face. And I'm like, what the fuck?
So mean.
Like, why? It's because her dad, Jose.
She is really mean to Jack. I mean, just seeing her walk around and, you know, snap at him and...
Dude, it's just wild. Fun. It's wild. Like, you know, I have to watch when they eat because Hattie will leave her food, go eat his, and Jack's a psycho about food, okay?
Oh, yeah.
He'll eat any food that he can, but he won't fucking touch Hattie's bowl. Like, no. Because, and sometimes she will eat his food with him, And then you see Jack just like walk away sad past her bowl. And then she's like, she's so small, she can't even eat half as much as Jack at all. So then she won't even eat her food. But then she'll guard it all fucking night. And so
like, I'm going to wait until I'm hungry.
Yeah. So I always like bat her away and give it to Jack, or like, you know, I've had to get kind of mean with Hattie because I'm like, stop beating up on Jack.
Bitch.
Yeah, she's a bitch. But yeah, she's wonderful too. But you know,
funny.
Yeah, I know. It just, dude, it blows my mind how much she and like
she has a lot of They both have a lot of personality. They're very different dogs.
Yeah, they really are. It's because they, you know, like I've given them so much attention throughout their whole lives, and you know, like I'm very responsive, almost like. You know, not really mind reading, but if you know, I used to do these meditations where I would like focus on like a thought that I want, you know, Jack or my dogs. Actually one of my German Shepherds, she was the best with it. I could think, Nala, do you want to go outside? And she'd look at me, and it was awesome, like just how connected she was. But I used to do these meditations where I would sit there with you know, Jack in front of me or Nala in front of me, and I would be like, and I'd put out this one thought and just visualize it like pouring from my head into theirs, and I was always like, oh, that's not doing anything, it's not working, whatever. Like it was just something I was trying for, you know, for a couple months, and then all of a sudden I realized, like, you know, Jack would be like looking at me, like standing with his legs weird, like by the door, he'd look at me and I'd be like, oh, you need water? And I'd look over in their water bowls, and it's like, how did I know that, you know, but it's it's getting used to your dog and just knowing how they are. But
I mean, I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat for a second, and I feel like, you know, the way people feel, or I guess any organism, or how, or certain, I don't even know what it is necessarily. I'm not going to say that I know anything. I'm just going to say that I feel like when you're feeling a certain way, or like strongly enough, like I feel like that can be pushed on to like other people, like they can kind of like sense like how you're feeling, like 100%. And then kind of like take that on themselves. But
yeah, I think there's a couple different degrees to that. Like I think some people are hypersensitive to it.
I feel like I am.
Yep, so am I, like very much so. Like that's why
I feel like I can feel like when someone's like fucking angry, but I don't really like, they're not showing it at all. They're not, you know, maybe they're in a fucking different room. I'm like, that motherfucker's angry. I don't know why, but they're angry.
And that used to mess with me a lot in work and in life in general, because like other people get upset or mad around me, and I couldn't shake it. I wouldn't be able to get rid of it. And that's why I got obsessed with 4 a.m.
Really?
Yeah, because when you get up at 4 a.m., it's like you have zero influence from other people psychologically. Zero. Like it's just not there because nobody's up.
Yeah.
And then you notice it, like I can tell when it's 6:30 every morning. If I'm not looking at the clock, if I'm not, you know, I can tell at 6:30 because all of a sudden I start to feel like there's a lot more going on in my head, you know, and there's been a lot of scientific studies. You guys probably are like, these guys are nuts.
Yeah, this sounds absolutely.
I'm going to keep watching because these guys are crazy. But they've done scientific studies where they had people in opposite rooms and they would feel certain emotions and the other person would have to guess.
I just feel like that's real. Like I don't know. Like I've felt that throughout my life, like consistently.
Well, there's like empaths, and then there's all these different, you know, names that people have come up with for people who feel that. But like I feel that with like without any facial expression change, without, I mean, I can feel it like
no, that's 100% what I mean. Like just based off of like I feel it. Like I could feel how this motherfucker is feeling, even if my back is turned. Like I don't know what they are looking like, or you know, anything.
And it's interesting because I've had quite a few times in my life where people are like furious at me, right? And sometimes when people are furious at me, I get this feeling of like pain or sadness or like anxiety.
Yeah, I know. I get the same shit.
And it's not like, and I don't have like fear from their anger.
No.
I have like recognition, like, oh shit, they're dealing with some shit. But then there's other times where people are angry with me and I'm like, holy fuck, this is scary. Like this person's, like what I'm feeling from this guy is like evil, hate, kill. Like, I mean, you know, like I just, you know, I almost got jumped the other day. The guy had a gun, and, you know, and when I made eye contact with that guy, it was like ice fucking cold inside my body.
That motherfucker was ready to shoot somebody.
Yep. He wanted to. He wanted a reason to. And so it was like, you know, to me, there's different aspects to it where like, sometimes when somebody's mad or upset with you, you get a kind of like an insight of what the real problem is, what they're really, dealing with. But then there's other times where it's like, if you feel like this guy is nuts or mean or crazy, you should listen to that.
Yeah.
Like you should be like, whoa, okay. But if you get a lot of times, and one of the things that helped me really recognize that was the book Awakening to a New Earth by, his name is Eckhart Tolle. And it was gosh, I'm sorry about Jack. That's just so annoying. But hold on one sec, guys. Jack, shut up. I love him, but I gotta yell at him every once in a while. But he's just persistent. Hattie's got the bone, I know it. But yeah, he talked about how to try to do that when somebody was like upset with you or you're yelling at you, try to reflect on like, what are they upset about? What are they?
Like why are they so fucking upset about whatever?
Like remove the ego from yourself. Like, I'm not gonna let this person be mad at me or talk to me like that.
I do that all the time, and I feel like a lot of people get the wrong idea of like I'm trying to be condescending or something. But I'm actually trying to figure out what's going on, and you think that I'm trying to be like passive aggressive or some shit.
Yep. It took me about 2 times of flipping out on Tristan to be like, all right, no, he's listening. He's processing. Okay.
Because I've gone through my life avoiding conflict as much as I possibly can.
Yep.
And I feel like, I don't know, I don't have any reason to, I don't know, I take the ego away from myself.
Yep.
And I don't know, I just feel like that's the way to live.
Yeah. Well, I think you avoid unnecessary like aggression conflict.
Yeah.
But I can personally say that even when you know that I'm pissed and what I'm going to say is not going to be good, you don't avoid that. You actually seem to come right to it. And just be
do
like,
because I want to quell the issue,
Yep.
but at the same time, I don't like aggression and conflict and like yelling and shit like that because I think it's unproductive.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a lot of times where I get too wound up and I get too, hyperly angry at somebody, but I do think I have a way of like curtailing it towards the end. Like, I'll start off really strong and I'll be like, but I understand that, but I mean, I don't know. That's, I mean,
people are different. People act different ways in different situations, and I just try to fucking figure it out.
Yeah. And for me, it has been hard in a lot of ways in life because I used to respond to that feeling I got from other people way more naturally. And I'd be like, hey, what's going on? You're upset about something in your life. They'd be like, yeah, well, how'd you know? And we'd talk and they'd walk away and, but then after a few times of getting burned, of people being like, fuck you, get away from me. Like, I've learned to just silence that voice. And I wish I never did that because it's so much more powerful when you can read a room without audio and without visual. It's just like a feeling.
It is weird, and I don't know, that shit got to be real.
Yeah, definitely. Because, dude, there's been times where I've seen things that exes have done wrong by the energy that I felt from them when they came close to me. I'd be like, wait, what's up here? I'd be like, what's going on here? And they'd be like, what do you mean? And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Like the way you just said that tells me. And then, the truth comes out and it's like, and it may just be a gut feeling, but I think that
maybe you pick up certain things through visuals or even audio that you don't even necessarily realize, and you kind of feel it, or I don't know how it works,
but maybe you really do just trust your gut and you have like a sixth sense that because consciousness is something that is projected. We affect each other's electromagnetic field.
And I feel like something as complicated as the human brain, like that's not that far out of reach. Like, certain people fucking with each other's brains,
Not at all.
Just because, a computer can give off a signal, why can't my brain? It's basically like an organic computer.
Yeah. I mean, I always go back to the baby ducks.
Yeah.
The baby duck experiment. It's like, just look up baby ducks robot warehouse experiment. Just Google that. And I've talked about it before, so I'm not going to go into it. But if baby ducks can change the programming of a robot just with their thinking it's their mom and calling out to it constantly, what can the human brain do? I
feel like it's a lot.
Yeah. I feel like we create the consciousness that's around us and the actual physicality of our world in our mind 100%.
Yeah.
And it's like a complete fabricated reality that we are always simultaneously projecting with each other collectively without really realizing it. Like we're all collectively having a conscious thought about how the world is, and what causes change in the world is when that consciousness tips to one direction or
and
the other.
If you look into like different studies about like dreams and how certain people can have like the same dream or like you know, certain things happen the exact same way, and it's like that's just strange to me.
I had a dream. I used to have a recurring dream, and Laura, who Jason's wife that I used to work with, she was like started to tell me a little bit of her dream, and I finished it, and I was like, yeah, and they're in suits, and they're not really chasing you, but walking behind you in the hallways, and she was like,
how did you know that?
And I'm like, dude, I had that dream like multiple times over and over again. And, so like when she told me the beginning of it, I was like, yeah, I know this fucking story. And
it's just so strange to me.
It's interesting. And we haven't even began to scratch the surface of human consciousness.
I feel like people need to put more like research into it, because I feel like people get labeled with like, you're fucking nuts for trying to even look into something like that. But why not?
But there's that stigma in society, because if you go down the that road, then you're basically the way that common society sees it is you're deviating from science and going into science fiction. And it's like, I don't know, like when you look at like, certain tourist fields and you look at the response, like even like those copper bracelets that are spun and wound together, that make that copper bracelet that heal people. People are like, that's crazy. Well, if you look into the science of the copper,
I have a pretty cool story. There was my knee was fucking up for a while, and I saw this little thing in the store. It was like a copper lined, like whatever the fuck you can, like a sock or something. I put that on for like a couple weeks, never hurt again, ever. Yeah. I mean, it was fixed.
Yep.
I was shocked.
Well, copper is interesting, and some of those braces that they make, they twist copper wire together, and it creates like I don't really want to say the wrong word, but it's like a eye torus field or eye torsion field that actually causes the electromagnetic field that's put off by the copper to feed back into itself and actually produce like a stronger, there's like a whole company out there that sells like $500 necklaces that are just copper and crystal that are like different energetic, resonance devices.
Interesting.
They're not resonating a frequency or anything. Yeah. But the frequencies of the actual crystals and the copper, the way that it's wound in the way that it is. I mean, it's like there's a lot more truth to this, to like the wacky, weird parts of science than people realize.
Just because it sounds like fucking crazy bullshit that someone with a tinfoil hat would say,
Yeah. Like if you take a quartz crystal and you squeeze it in your hand, it'll create a north and a south polarity. Most people don't know that.
I don't know.
It'll literally create a north and a south polarity just by having external force pressed on it from the outside.
That's interesting.
There's so many different, like there's even people who say that well, it does. It vibrates at like 700 some thousand something. Yeah, I
mean, if you look it up, everything vibrates at a certain something,
And vibratory rates, and if our whole system, our whole world is light in frequency.
It is.
That's it.
I know it.
That's it. Like that's the only thing that it is. So it's like it's how the frequency affects the light and how the light affects the frequency, and it creates all these other aspects that we have started to to map, like these different scientific principles. A lot of scientific principles will highlight a specific aspect that we know to be true through observation, but then there's like other aspects to it that if you put it in through experimental phases, it doesn't really match up. So I think a lot of the stuff that we know scientifically is only like the beginning of the formulation, and we're not even there yet. And
there's a lot of things that are really difficult to even figure out, like with the technology we have right now. Like it's not that possible to really figure it out, but maybe it is in the future. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there could be a lot of things just with normal how we interact in life and how our society's put together that's actually stopping our brains and our bodies from doing what we can do or what
possible.
Like it's really interesting when you start going down some of those rabbit holes. And I always like I will read a lot of stuff that I may not know to be true or believe to be true at all, but I still want to take in that perspective and understand, like, okay, this person put a lot of work and a lot of effort into this.
They must have really believed whatever they were saying.
What were they thinking? Is there a nugget of truth in there somewhere that points to something else that it's like, oh, this is really it? And I think we need to get past the ego in our scientific community and really the financial structure of the way it's set up. Like, people are only paid to research what pays money.
Yeah.
You know, like that's why that's why majority of our our scientific research is in weapons and medicine. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, those are the two things that keep the world fighting each other and killing each other. So.
Yeah. But then you see, some wild, like $480,000 spent to see if, rats can be trained to go to the bathroom outside. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, who spent that to do that? Like,
why not?
I know.
Just to figure it out.
Like, there's so many aspects that we haven't even touched on, like
a lot of science isn't really in the name of science. It's more in the name of who can make the most money.
Amen. Yeah. I encourage you guys to check out a book by Stephen L. Goldman. It's What You Know About Science and in the scientific community, or it's something like that. It's Stephen L. Goldman, and it's let me just look it up real quick so I can give you guys the full. Let me see here. No, not finding it in my library, but I will find it for you guys, and I will let you know which one it is. It is like, it basically has to do with how the scientific community actually grows and figures out, what's true and what isn't, and what is. Gosh, it's so annoying when I try to search my library. It searches like all of Audible, but yeah, his name is Stephen L. Goldman. He's a phenomenal professor, and he kind of walks you through like the way science has evolved from way back when until now, and certain things and statements that were made that were like adamantly against going into this direction, and then once we went that direction, it was like, oh, that's 100% true. Right. We were completely wrong before,
Yeah, I mean, that's very possible for a lot of different things.
And it's so political, I guess. It's so, it's so like, it's really, it's not about getting to the end result. It's about, again, what makes money, and what gives credit to who.
I mean, everybody's out there just to get money, honestly, and I mean, I understand why, but
yeah,
it'd be cool if some people were like, hey, man, I have a shitload of money, I'm going to go figure some shit out.
We do have some people like that. We have some scientists and some engineers and some, the Elon Musks of the world and different people who are like just tirelessly focusing on accomplishing a lifelong worthy goal. And that is beautiful to see. And you can do that in any aspect of life. You don't have to be a world changer to really affect positively. And, just like what we were talking about, like just being in a good fucking mood could positively affect,
that could, theoretically that could make other people feel better,
Yeah, well, absolutely. Like if I went to a room, or a coffee shop and everyone was in a great mood, I'm definitely going to be in a better mood.
Right.
But
I mean, it's just kind of how human nature works, I guess, but
yeah. So yeah, guys, we were kind of all over the place today, but hopefully you liked it. Definitely, get ready for this political field that is opening up. This is going to be some wild shit.
It's going to be strange.
This is going to be cool. So I can't wait to see how everything starts to evolve as we get closer and closer to the election. I know we're going to have some topics to talk about, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting. They talked about Trump a lot during the Democratic National Convention. Like a lot. It was weird. But thanks, guys.
We'll get into it another time. We'll see you later.
Have a good one.